This is Gail Kovac with Gresham Barlow School District, Summer School, High School Credit Recovery, Geometry, and Learning Target number 9. I can use formulas to find the area of various figures. So there's a number of shapes that are hidden within these shapes here, such as triangles and squares and rectangles and circles and whatnot, and we are going to be adding chunks of them together to get the gray shaded regions below. So what we're looking to do is break these strange shapes up into shapes that we are familiar with. Like, for example, on the left, it looks like I've got a square or a quadrilateral. And then I've also got a triangle on the top. So I'm going to be finding the areas of each of those pieces separately, and then finding the area of the total by adding those two pieces together. So let's start with the square at the bottom. It looks like I've got dimensions of 20 inches for each of those lengths. And the area of a triangle is, or excuse me, a square is length times width, and the lengths and the width happen to be the same, so that would be the side length times itself twice. In which case the triangle is going to be 20 times 20, and that's going to get you a total of 400 inches squared for the square in the middle. So this first chunk here is 400, and that's inches squared. So we're going from length to area, and area is in dimensions squared. So we've got the square so far. Now we're going to deal with the triangle. The area of a triangle is going to be 1/2 of the base times the height. So you should have somewhere the formulas for a lot of these common shapes, because you're going to be using them. You don't have to memorize them. Just make sure you have those available. So I know the height of the triangle is 30. But I need to figure out what the base is. I know this little chunk here is 9, and this has a equal little piece over here, another 9. But what is this distance in the middle to go all the way across? Well, that is in fact the 20 down here at the bottom. So all the way across, that's 20 plus the 2 9s right here. So that's going to be, and I'm always double checking my answers when I'm doing videos because I arithmetic incorrectly sometimes. This is going to be 38 inches for the base, 38 inches. So now we have the base and the height of the triangle. We can find the area by taking half of whatever the base times the height is. So that's going to be 1/2 of your base, which is 38, times your height, which is 30. So let's see what 38 times 30 is, and then I'm going to take half of that. All right, 38 times 30. That is 1,140, but I want half of 1,140, so I'm going to divide that by 2, and I've got 570. So the larger triangle at top has an area of 570 inches squared. Now, if we want the area of the arrow looking shape, then we need to find the sum of those two pieces together. So we're going to need the 400 square inches from the square and the 570 square inches from the triangle, and we're going to put those together. So 570 and 400, that is going to make a neat and tidy 970 all together, and that's in inches squared. Please make sure you use the correct units. It should be units squared because we're doing an area, and that's always in square units. So the entire shape in gray, it's a total area of 970 square inches. You've got to find the chunks of the pieces and then add them together. And for our second shape over here, it's a very strange shape. And in fact, it looks like I have some kind of a rectangle and then almost like half of a circle that's been cut out of it. So let's take a look at what we've got here. I've got this, if this were filled in all the way, oh wow, that was really flopsy. Let me try that again. If I were to complete this as a rectangle, then it would look like this. So perhaps I can find the area of the rectangle and then subtract away this half circle to find out what's left over in gray. So I know the length here is 13.5 feet, but I got to figure out what the height is or width is, because length times width, that gets you area of a rectangle. So here's my rectangle. That is length times width. So I know my length, that's 13.5. So now I've got to figure out the width. So let's see here. It looks like I've got a half circle. And the radius, that's the distance from the center to any point on the edge of the circle, is 9 feet. So here, in fact, is another radius. That one also has to be 9 feet. And going in the other direction as well, this one also has to be 9 feet. Those are all radii of a circle, in which case the length here of this rectangle is going to be a total of 18. That was 9 plus 9 to get you 18. So this is going to be 13.5 times 18 to get you the area of the rectangle. So thank you, calculator, for helping me out now. That looks like 243 feet squared. Now that would be this entire rectangle if it were all filled in gray. However, someone has cut out half of this circle, so I'm going to need to take that away. I'm going to need to subtract that. So I want to figure out what the area of this half circle is, because someone has cut that out. So the formula for a circle is pi, which is approximated at 3.14, times your radius squared. And we're going to want to take half of that because it's only half of a circle that has been cut out of this. So pi is 3.14. We're going to just approximate it that way. And we're going to multiply that by your radius, which is 9 squared. And that means 9 times itself twice. So we're going to multiply 3.14 by 18 to find the area of, 81, thank you, to find the area of a whole circle, and then just take half of that. So 3.14 approximately for pi multiplied by 81 gets you 254.34. 254.34. Now I already know that if there was a mistake where people subtracted an entire circle away from this, 243 minus 254 something is going to get you a negative number. So you know that that's automatically going to be wrong. So I want half of that. I want half circle. So here's half circle. And so I'm going to divide that number by 2 to find half the circle. Divide by 2, 127.17. 127.17. So to find this section here in red, just this section here, I'm going to take my full rectangle and I'm going to subtract away the half circle. So I'm going to do rectangle minus half of the circle. All right, so my rectangle is 243 and my half circle is 127.17. So let's see, nifty calculator, what we get left with. 115.83, 115.83. That is the area of the red section right there, and we were talking about feet squared. Don't forget those units. That's really important. This is square feet for an area. So Just remember, sometimes you are going to be adding chunks together to get a total, kind of like we did on the left here with the triangle and the rectangle. And sometimes it'll be like someone has removed a piece from something that's familiar to you, and you're going to have to subtract that part away instead. But you're looking overall for the area of just the shaded part, looking for shapes you are familiar with, like rectangles, squares, triangles, and circles.